Over the past many years, but in particular year and a half, I think many of us are having important conversations around social justice and racial justice, and particularly in the development community, looking at what decolonizing aid can look like and how we can better center and empower the needs and wants of the people that we're aiming to serve. I think it makes sense to have a similar conversation about the Peace Corps, which was started in the 1960s and partially as an instrument of the Cold War and has a lot of history to reckon with in the years since. And I think one might argue that sending young volunteers who are obviously very bright and determined and altruistic, but also fresh out of college and may not actually have all that many skills out to a community to help them make development gains kind of implies that you somehow need someone from the West to be able to do that, even if the communities themselves have more experience. So I was just curious how Peace Corps is grappling with this issue. How is it shaping conversations in training? And in particular, how is the Peace Corps incorporating feedback from volunteers and the communities they serve into policies and practices?
Thank you for that question. I think that's something we all need to wrestle with as we engage with countries around the world and as they take agency and ownership over their own development. The Peace Corps approach has always been to go at the invitation of host governments, to work with host ministries, to identify their needs, and to go into communities at their invitation, and for individual volunteers to work on participatory community action. So really working with those communities, even through the rest of the layers, to identify those needs and to partner together. It has never been about volunteers, going in to make a difference on their own. It is about that partnership, about that deep respect and humility, and that is why our volunteers learn local languages. It is why they live and work at the level of the communities that they serve. But this is a time to ask those important questions, and these are questions that we're struggling with in terms of how we improve what we do. How do we improve our accountability to those communities, our accountability to that host government? We certainly center their voices in all of our program plans. We've just gone through extensive process to revise each and every one of our project frameworks, developing that logical project framework. And in that, in developing those frameworks, we have representatives from the government, we have representatives from NGOs, from counterparts, from communities that are impacted, as well as from volunteers helping to design where our niche is and where we can be most helpful. So it is an ongoing process that I think we all have to continue to ask ourselves those questions. I think Peace Corps has embedded, all of those principles in the work that we do, and we are working with countries on what their needs are. So if they have needs for specific skills and specific skilled volunteers to come in, that is what we will bring.